Giving flowers is just an endorphin rush. You're doing something so kind, and it just, if you could see their face, you'll get it.
When we notice kindness, it inspires us to move in kindness. And that's something that I'm seeing play out over and over. And when we witness kindness being done, between other people, it basically chemically alters us to be primed to act in kindness ourselves. Hey friend, welcome to the Growing Kindness Podcast. I'm your host, Deanna Kitchen, founder of the Growing Kindness Movement. This is a place where we grow together, learning to root our lives in kindness, connection, and community. If you've ever wished the world felt a little softer, a little more neighborly, or if you're craving stories that remind you that goodness still grows, you're in the right place. Together with our guests, we'll share stories of generosity and community, proof that even the smallest acts of kindness, from growing and giving cut flowers to everyday acts of care, can change lives and connect us in powerful ways. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Kim, it is really incredible to see just the impact and the ripples of kindness that you are able to send out in your community through such generous giving. I think it's really beautiful the way that you have combined your business and your livelihood with giving so generously. Can you tell us more about how that works for you as a for-profit flower farm who depends on your farm for your livelihood, marrying these two things that are important to you, both raising and selling flowers and also giving generously and ripples of kindness in your community?
I think the main thing for flower farmers, if we're really real with ourselves, we always have extra flowers. We always have offcuts. We have the ones that aren't quite long enough or the ones that aren't quite perfect enough, especially when you're in the wholesale game. You really got to bring it. It's got to be, there are standards. I don't sell through any other channels. I guess I could. A lot of flower farmers sell through several different channels. But even if you're going to a farmer's market, say, and you're bringing in, 30 buckets of whatever you're doing, probably you're not selling through. Maybe you are. And hey, mazel tov. If you can do that, that's great. Maybe there's extras. Do you have a plan for that? It's not going to last a week in your cooler. Sorry. That's not going to work. So what's your plan? Maybe you're stopping by a nursing home on your way home. And how fun would that be? And how beautiful. Giving flowers is just an endorphin rush. You're doing something so kind, and it just, if you could see their face, you'll get it. So maybe have a plan for those extras that we always have. Maybe grow extra. Maybe grow some things that are specifically meant for giving away. I think that once you do it, you're going to get hooked. And who better? We have gobs and gobs of flowers. And I think that operating from a place of scarcity always limits our possibility. I think that the more you give, the more you get.
That right there. I just want to repeat that back to you because operating from scarcity limits our possibility. Not only I think from our possibility for impact and connection and kindness. Would you say as a for-profit business owner, do you feel like the generous giving that you're doing in your community limits you as a business or opens doors and opportunities for you?
Oh, not at all. And I don't use it as a marketing tool or anything like that. It's really just my little thing that I do. I go and deliver to our collective. I sell through a collective in Charlottesville, and it's a group of 8 farmers that all sell together as a group. So I make my delivery there on Mondays, and then I swing by the hospital, give them the rest, and reset. And then I have some designers in Richmond that I work with, and so I will harvest their flowers on Tuesday and deliver theirs on Wednesday. And, just round and round we go from March to October. You know, it's this, you know, it's Groundhog Day. It's the same thing every week.
I'm trying to picture in my head how many stems, how many blooms have left your farm and brightened the lives of someone in a nearby community. It's got to be.
That's a good question.
Count. I mean, is it, do you count? It's got to be countless. If you're donating by the bucket, that's really hard to track. And
I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know if the hospital's keeping track of how many bouquets they've done.
The ripples of kindness. I think it's hard to, or maybe it's easy to imagine, you know, every bucket of those blooms, you know, delivered, the ripples of kindness that are moving out and through, you know, patients at the hospital, clients at the food pantry. It's just really incredible to think about how that one thing that you would have composted went on to give so abundantly in your community.
Absolutely shouldn't hit a compost pile. I mean, if it's a decent flower, it's got possibility to bring joy to somebody. All you have to do is figure out who. And, you know, I mean, I'll tell you another fun thing is with the collective, we bring in extra bunches and we sell them in, we have like a store, you know, on Wednesdays. Designers can come in and shop the extras. And invariably, they don't all sell. You know, that's just retail. We've now organized those flowers go to Jen, and she uses those for her children's hospital thing. So whether they sell or don't, they're all going to the hospital, which is pretty neat. It's a pretty full circle thing.
Absolutely beautiful. Like how do you feel like this generous giving that you're doing has impacted and influenced your community and your community's perception of you as a flower farm?
Liddell, the coordinator, is just so lovely. She's always so thankful. And she's told me things about, you know, when she's rolling the cart of buckets into the hospital, people notice. I think sometimes just noticing something kind being done can ripple, even if it's not something that's been given to you. You're noticing it happening to somebody else, and you're like, oh, gee, you know, maybe I could do something nice. And the paying it forward can happen in ways that we will never know. And it's none of our business, really. I mean, it's about doing the thing, feeling good about it, and moving on and doing the next thing.
I love what you said, that when we notice kindness, it inspires us to move in kindness. And that's something that I'm seeing play out over and over. And I read recently about this thing. I did share this in an earlier episode, but it's called kindness priming. I don't know exactly the science behind it, but the science behind it is that when we witness kindness being done, you know, between other people, it basically chemically alters us to be primed to act in kindness ourselves. Kim, you're sharing so many blooms in your community each week. It sounds like, you know, one of the things that I'm hearing from you is make it simple, make it easy by being able to partner with people who are taking those blooms and putting them into things like with what you're doing and donating to UVA Hospital. Can you give us any other practical tips if a flower farmer was listening today, or if a gardener who grows a big volume of flowers was listening today and has flowers to give, but maybe feels a little overwhelmed about the process of how do I get these flowers into the hands of those who need them? Or how do I make this process simple? What practical tips can you give to someone who's thinking about being able to reach out with their surplus of flowers or with a lot of flowers and gift in their community?
If you love to arrange flowers, amazing. Do that. I like doing that. I don't have time for that. For me, it's super easy. It's a lot easier, I will say, to just fill buckets and then they design them. But I will say Jen has volunteers. She has an army that helps her. You know, she's a grower and a designer. She has a group of people that get together every week and help her harvest and put these arrangements together because she makes the arrangements and delivers. And that's just, it's a lot of time and it's a lot of work to make something like that happen on that kind of scale. So for me, you know, buckets is the way. And, you know, there are programs all over the place that will do this. Like I bet if you walked up to a nursing home and said, listen, do you want to start a program? maybe you want to gather some residents together and do a little class on flower arranging. Maybe, look, you can't be a flower grower without knowing a few florists. Maybe maybe you partner with one and you do it together, and that'd be fun. Maybe the designer will teach the residents to do that. Or maybe it's a group home, or maybe it's your church, or, just pick it. Doesn't even have to be any kind of nonprofit. Maybe you're just doing it for the community. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend who was growing a lot of dahlias, but was feeling a little overwhelmed and in the process of getting them out into the community. But she really wanted to see them be gifted in kindness. And so she set up a weekly little front porch pickup. And so she just put out on her local buy, sell, swap page that, hey, if you know someone who is going through a difficult time, who needs to be uplifted, encouraged, come pick up flowers. And they were just buckets, set out on the front porch, and people could come put their own arrangement together. I think sometimes, especially if we come from a flower farming or floral design particularly background, or just have, that feel any pressure about things needing to look a certain way or be a certain style of arrangement, that can slow us down and keep us from giving when really just truly a bucket of flowers or a bunch of flowers or a bucket set on our front porch for someone to come pick out stems from is enough. We just have to reach out and offer what we have. And I love that you found a way to give so generously and create so many moments of impact and spread so much kindness by leaning in and using what you have. And that's a lot of flowers, not necessarily a lot of time, but you found a way to make it fit into your business model and give generously. And I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't see it as a detraction from my business at all. I'm not selling every single stem, just because of the nature of how I've chosen to do it. But I think no matter how you grow as a farmer, there's always going to be extra. I really believe that.
So in addition to gifting buckets of blooms, you mentioned that you and your mom also do a regular gifting to the food pantry in your community. And those are small arrangements. I have had the privilege of seeing photos of them. And I would love for you to share about how you put those together in a way that makes it simple and easy to keep giving like you're doing, because I think you and your mom have really hit on some really sweet little tips that have made that easy and beautiful to be able to do.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat is I was telling Liddell at the hospital about doing that. And she's like, you know what? I have so many little Starbucks bottles that somebody brings in to us. She carefully washes them and she brings them in. And my gals here don't love them because they're not big enough for what they want to do. Could you use them? I'm like, that's perfect. Those things will fit great in a cup holder. And they're glass and they're weighted enough to not tip over, and we were using these little plastic cup things that we had, and that just didn't work great. So these little bottles, so we got those bottles. And then I bought some crates, like milk crate kind of things that holds the bottles in place, and then we can just take them right over to the church.
I think it's such a beautiful invitation because people want to help. People want to do something, but it takes somebody asking or having a specific thing to do. Like, hey, can you save all your Frappuccino bottles and wash them for me? Sure, I'd be happy to help. Or, hey, can you spend an hour with me this afternoon in the barn? We're going to arrange flowers. People are so excited to get to be we want to be asked, we want to serve. And so when we're willing to say, hey, can you help me? The ripples of kindness get to move out even farther in our communities and in our circles.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They get to participate, and that's a gift. So yeah, I just think everything that I've done in my 57 years has taught me that the more that you give and the more you operate from a place of abundance, it's just a happier life.
One of the things that I discovered for myself along the way is that there's a saying, Anne Frank once said it, and she said, no one ever became poor by giving. The only time it's not true is if it's not truly our resource to give. And the rest of the time, It's so very true, because when we are giving generously, so much more comes back to us, and not necessarily in terms of recognition as a business or customers as a business, but bigger than that and more beautiful than that is just this opportunity to build relationships and uplift people and do something really powerfully positive in a community that ripples back to us in so many ways. Kim, this is so, I'm so inspired by, like, I think that people are going to walk away from this feeling like, oh, I could do that. How come I haven't thought about that? I think we overcomplicate it. Like, oh, we've got to give bouquets, just the idea. So one thing that I'd love to invite you into, I haven't got all the bells and whistles together on this yet, but we're getting ready to write a new PDF, like a download for Growing Kindness. And it's going to be 101 ways to give flowers. And like a section of it will be like, if you're a flower farmer, here's some ways. So I would love to feature you in that section if you'd be up for that. And with your idea of like, here's how I work in my co-op or collective. Here's how I gift buckets. Here's how I make this work with my harvesting schedule. So I'll follow up with you on that and we'll get more information on that. But for now, Kim, obviously you're growing flowers on a much bigger scale as a flower farmer. What would you say to someone who may be listening and has never grown flowers at all before and is inspired to start? What advice would you have for a brand new beginning gardener?
The way I started is just research. I read, I looked online. There's so much information out there, and there's so many farmers out there doing social media, and they're talking about what they're doing. I mean, I talk a lot on my social media about what I'm doing in the fields, on my stories, just because I hope it's helpful. I have no aspirations of being a flower farmer, educator, that market's full. There are a lot of people doing that stuff. And like I said, I kind of have found my third way of doing stuff. People have said, they like it. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about doing it that way. Or, like this year I am growing in a hoop house for the first time. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, and I'm going to learn as I go along, and I rigged up, I call it my redneck hoop house because it's just plastic over a metal frame that used to be a hay tent. And, we'll see how it goes. But you probably could learn a lot from smarter people than me. But I think there are a lot of people out there that do that kind of informational stuff. There's certainly lots of books out there, pros that are happy to teach you how to do it. But as far as gardening goes, back when I was just gardening, I guess for me, I get into a book. I'm all about learning, educating myself as best I can to try to have the best outcome. I would start easy, get into the annuals. Some of these seeds, they just want to grow. You just throw them in the ground. Zinnias, cosmos, celosia. There's a whole plant category called cool flowers, and they're really biennials. Lisa Ziegler, I don't know, she didn't invent it, but she kind of brought it in, to the vernacular. Our grandmothers knew about this, but those seeds, like bachelor buttons, I don't plant those anymore, but they come back year over year. There's a lot of plants out in my field that I give no effort for. Bachelor buttons are one. Bupleurum will come back year over year, Orlea, Nigella. There's a whole category of those kinds of flowers that start in the fall and they get little. They're little babies and they just live all winter long. And then they're the first thing to charge up in the spring. So if you want early blooms, go scatter some of those outside real quick. So that's the way you get them early. You get them quick. And then after your last frost, you can do all of the aforementioned zinnias and cosmos and celosias and, that group of flower. So those are all just seed, and they're just so easy, and Mother Nature will just take it away. I would start there. And then, they're kind of your gateway drug though, because then you're going to be like, ooh, maybe I could do some dahlias. I heard about that. That's fun. And that's a whole other little thing. But the Growing Kindness page has all kinds of good information on growing. And if you join, you can learn how.
Yep. We're really One of the things I love about our community too is that we're all kind of flower nerds, whether we're new flower nerds or experienced flower nerds. Everybody is just excited and energized about growing flowers. And so there's lots of really great conversations and tips and troubleshooting that just happens, with, hey, who's doing this or who knows how to solve that problem? And it's really fun to come together around that, because then it becomes, I think that, we all felt and knew very deeply what it was like to walk in isolation because of COVID. And so just anytime we can find community, whether it's like-minded people who are doing the same things like growing flowers and giving them as acts of kindness, or whether it's fostering community in our actual local region, I think it's something we're all longing for, and it pays back in dividends, kind of like those flowers that go to seed, that just keeps coming back in the most beautiful ways as one connection leads to another connection, which builds a bridge, in a community. And it's really an incredible opportunity to see the way that just those single seeds can grow and grow and grow.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Flower farming is, it can be isolating as a flower farmer. This is maybe off topic, but we've just started a flower farmer group in Central Virginia, and I'm the unofficial secretary, I guess. We don't have any organization going on. We just, one cutie pie little flower farmer here in the area, Kayla, she was waxing poetic on Instagram about, wouldn't it be fun if we could just get together as flower farmers? But she has two littles, swirling around her leg. She has no time for that. And does anyone else have time to do any kind of maybe organizing us and pulling us together? And I was like, I could do it. We have over 40 flower farmers in the area now as part of our group. And the things we could do together would be pretty impressive.
Kim, it has been a joy to get to learn from you and hear your story. It's a beautiful reminder to us all that creativity and our passions and our businesses can live right alongside of giving generously. And not only that, they can lift each other up and move each other forward in such beautiful ways. I love the way that you've helped us with such practical tips for ways that we can take an abundance of flowers and get them into the hands of those who need them most in our community. If anybody wanted to keep following along with your story and see the ways, learn from you and in your experience as a flower farmer, and see the ways that you're giving in your community, how would they get in touch with you or follow along?
Well, I'm on the Gram and on Facebook, Crane and Clover Retreat. Same thing, both places. I have a website. It's ccretreat.com. You can see the whole story on the website. Yeah, and I teach classes in the barn art classes. That's pretty much it.
Well, I've loved following along with your story, and I cannot wait to continue. Kim, thank you for being here with us today and sharing your story. It's encouraging and uplifting just to see the ways that we can bring serving and community service into all that we do. As we part today, I would love to hear from you. We talk often about the power of small acts of kindness. What's one thing that someone once did for you that you still carry in your heart with you today?
I recently tried to build a chicken coop, and I am a person that thinks I can just do anything because everything is figure-outable. And turns out that was beyond my ability. And I was in a pickle. My friend Sheila came over and was like, what in the world? And I'm like, I know, I'm in a bind. And she's like, okay, that's fine. We got this. And she got her husband over here, and they brought a miter saw. And the two of them helped me get that little project complete. And it was huge for me because as a classic Gen X, I do not ask for help, and I don't expect help. And I'm fine. I got this, and it was a moment of, oh gosh, now this kind of feels nice. Wow. That was so nice. Yeah. I've just not gotten over it yet. I can't believe they did that for me.
Well, it's like you said, when we're willing to ask for help, someone can give and someone can receive. All it takes is one person being willing to ask. Kim, thank you for being here today. It was an honor to get to hear your story. Thank you so much for listening to the Growing Kindness podcast. It means the world that you take the time to be here. Every time you show up, every time you listen in, community grows. If today's episode encouraged you, there are a few simple ways to keep growing kindness with us. First, you can join the team. When you become a Growing Kindness gardener, you link arms with like-minded, like-hearted people from all around the world who believe that small acts of kindness really do make a big difference. As a gardener, you'll receive access to resources, inspiration, and connection to help you grow and give flowers as acts of kindness in your corner of the world. It's free to join. Another way to get involved is to become a donor. This podcast is made possible by the generosity of our donors, kind-hearted people who believe, just like you, that stories of goodness are worth sharing. If you'd like to help us share more stories just like today's, visit growingkindnessproject.org/donate to make a gift and keep kindness blooming. We'd love to stay connected with you. You can sign up for our newsletter or find us on Instagram at Growing Kindness Project. We'd love to keep in touch and cheer you on as you grow kindness in your community. And finally, if this episode touched your heart, would you share it with a friend? It's one of the simplest ways to spread kindness today. I'm so grateful you're here. Until next time, keep growing kindness, one bloom at a time.